Hello, this is AnlineOffline. Welcome back to another casuals quick guide to Call of Duty Mobile. For today's video, we'll be covering the M4LMG. Locked to level 9 along with the flashbang, the M4LMG is a mag-fed automatic M4LMG. It first appeared in COD Online and was brought over to COD Mobile at launch. 3 years later, the first AR-15 LMG in a main COD game was the belt-fed 5.56 Icarus, and it's based on the Fightlight MCR. In Black Ops 6, you could put a 100-round drum mag on the XM4. They also featured an experimental belt-fed AR-10. Mobile and Online's M4LMG is mostly based on the Barrett REC7, but with Beta C drum mags. Before we talk about Barrett's AR-15s, we need to take a step back to the beginning. The first issued M16s had reliability issues due to a last-minute change in powder and a lack of cleaning kits. This was later rectified with the A1 variant. Decades later, when the US transitioned to M4 carbines, shortening the barrels had a side effect of reintroducing reliability issues when they weren't regularly cleaned, and this became more apparent in dusty environments like the Middle East. To compensate for the reduced effectiveness of 5.56 out of shorter barrels, Remington designed the 6.8mm special purpose cartridge. Barrett was the first adopter, and it would be available for later multi-caliber rifles like the Remington ACR and Colt CM901. The M468 is exactly what it sounds like, an M4 by Barrett in 6.8. However, since it used the same stonered system, a bigger round and a short barrel only exacerbated reliability issues. Thus, its successor, the REC7, switched to a short-stroke cast piston. The military briefly showed interest in the round, but went with the improved M855A1 variant of 5.56. The Gen 2 variant improved the REC7's ergonomics, reduced weight, added more options for modularity, and further improved the gas regulation. Having learned from their past mistakes, Barrett released a variant that reintroduced a refined DI system. They then took a break from making these rifles to focus on sniper contracts, but have brought back a DI variant. No word on the gas pistons or 308 REC10s for the time being. Back to COD Mobile. Base damage per shot is moderately high, killing in 4 shots initially before dropping to 5 and 6 from afar. Assuming no range attachments, your base effective range is 50 meters. Its fire rate is tied with the PKM for the third slowest in the LMG class, at 632 rounds per minute, ahead of the UL-736 and RAL-MG. As an OG weapon, its hit scan and the impact is standard for its class. At close range, its time to kill is slow, but at mid and long range, it's solid. Headshots are 20% extra damage, while the chest and forearms are 10% extra. In its first range, 1 headshot or 2 to the forearms is enough to achieve a 3-shot potential. In its second range, you can extend its 4-shot potential with 1 headshot or all forearm shots. In its final range, you need double headshots or all forearm shots. Because the biceps deal base damage, all it takes is for someone to look to the side to throw a monkey wrench at your potential time to kill. In terms of mobility, the M4LMG is slow. The base ADS time is tied with the RPD and Holger for the third slowest machine gun. The base movement speeds are tied with the RPD for the third slowest LMG. The swap times are comparable to assault rifles. The base mag size is the standard 100 rounds for LMGs, but can be reduced to 30 and 40 in exchange for faster movement, ADS, and reloading. One thing to note is that the 30-round mag will secretly nerf your impact, but only by a little bit. With the 40-round mag, no stock, and ultralight barrel, it can achieve the fastest sprint and walking speed for an LMG, and this is roughly equivalent to assault rifles in base like the Type 19, Type 25, and Groza. The reload times are slightly slower than most of its fellow mag-fed LMGs, but this is still much faster than the belt feeders. For reload cancelling, you can do so just before fully inserting any mag. As for accuracy, the bloom is average overall. It used to be average for an LMG, but half of them were buffed last year and it got left behind. It has one of the better hipfire spreads for an LMG and is comparable to ARs. Most of the others aren't worth hipfiring. The iron sights aren't the best. The rear sights are bulky enough to act as potential blind spots in close quarters. As someone who plays on their phone and not a tablet, this is not something I want to sync my FOV with. It also seems that deleting the model to look like the RPD isn't possible. Luckily, the recoil is light and easily manageable. The flinch is fine and enough to resist the impact of its fellow LMGs. It's been almost 5.5 years since this game came out, and in that time, the M4LMG has never been a standout weapon, always overshadowed by other LMGs. If we use the WayBack machine and look at the stats gathered by Hawksnest before Gunsmith, the M4LMG was a very different weapon back then. It used to be an infinite 5-shot kill, but the fire rate was nearly 100 rounds slower and matched the ASM-10. The ADS time was much faster back then, but the movement speeds were much slower and the base max size was 75. It also had unpredictable, randomized horizontal recoil. With the release of Gunsmith, most guns received a consistent recoil pattern, but now had to deal with bloom, ESA, or ADS spread. Unfortunately, the M4LMG has always had bloom that was mediocre at best. Fire rate was improved to what it is today, but its 4-shot range was cut in half. It simply couldn't shine in a meta of high damage, low capacity weapons that punish the slower movement of old. In the first half of 2021, the 4-shot range was restored, but it lost its infinite 5-shot range. It also now had to deal with SMGs with viable strafe speeds. If you want to be optimistic, the bloom wasn't butchered like some others because there wasn't anything to butcher to begin with. Later that year, LMGs were introduced to disable 2, which allowed them to strike anywhere in the body to counter SMG movement. However, the new Holger was the meta LMG of choice at this point. Early 2022 saw LMGs getting buffed to their ADS times. When persistence was nerfed, several weapons had their blooms buffed. The M4LMG was allegedly among them, but not by much practically. The more impactful change was increasing its 4-shot range to what it is today. Then it presumably got a swap time buff. 2023 gave it a recoil buff, optimized performance, its current bloom, its current head and chest multipliers, and optimized sound effects. Bullet impact was an unexpected addition that mostly benefited LMGs and heavy ARs. The final change in 2023 was to its 30-round mag. It had faster ADS, but now secretly reduced your impact slightly. Mid-2024 buffed the forearm multipliers to vastly improve its potential time to kill. As of the making of this video, the last change it received was a flinch buff along with the other LMGs, but it wasn't included when it came to bloom. That brings us to today. What are my thoughts on the M4LMG? It's not a bad gun, very few actually are. It just has flaws and is overlooked by other LMGs. Some people hyperfixate on the first range, but the demands for its mid to long range potential time to kills is where it falls flat, and the bloom is less than ideal to support it. Some of the other LMGs also have an X factor that makes them compelling to use. So how does it compare to its peers? First, we have its fellow OG slow-firing mag feeder, the UL-736. In the first range, the M4LMG is more likely to achieve its 3-shot potential as it needs 2 of 3 to the chest/arms or 1 headshot, whereas the UL needs all 3 to the chest and arms or double headshots, but it has more range. Beyond this, it's the opposite. Both of their accuracy stats are comparable. What gives the UL the edge is its bicep multiplier and its faster base mobility and handling. Thus you don't have to sacrifice accuracy to play like a heavy AR. The Holger is a fellow LMG that can be converted into an AR with box magazines. It has a much faster fire rate and will usually kill faster. However, the M4LMG has a 3-shot potential that can kill faster than SMGs without needing double headshots. Then again, we already established that the M4LMG's multipliers aren't significantly better than the Holger's minimalism beyond this. In this case, I might go with the Holger at mid to long range for the faster fire rate and less obstructive iron sights. So between them, I suppose it depends on what range you want to play. I was once asked to include ARs for this video. I don't want it to drag on too long, so I'll compare it to two fellow AR-15s. Once upon a time, the M16 with Wildfire was the best weapon in the game, as it did what the M4LMG was supposed to do. It's still an infinite 5-shot kill with a monstrous 4-shot range without range boosting, and has the bloom to afford a red dot. But nowadays no one wants to put up with the recoil after its nerf. And lastly, we have the HVK with large caliber, which has remained as one of the most dangerous weapons to go up against for a majority of this game's lifecycle. The M4LMG doesn't have many advantages over the HVK. It's more likely to kill in 3 shots, but the HVK can 2-shot headshot. The HVK's recoil is only somewhat awkward when mag dumping. The only thing going in the M4LMG's favor is its larger mag. Looking back on it now, a lot of the changes that it received over the years were communal. So what can we suggest to make it less of an afterthought? First, a buff to its multipliers. 15% extra damage to its entire arms and chest is a step up for the odds of achieving its potential time to kill. With this, you only need 1 of 3 in its first range, 3 of 4 in its middle range, and 3 of 5 at long range. 30% extra damage from headshots means just 1 can shorten your time to kill at any range. Second, it needs better bloom. I suggest a slight buff to the full auto spray, an initial spread comparable to burst weapons. Thus, even if you max out its movement, you should still be fine as long as you remember to burst your shots. That, and if you can manage to keep the bloom below 20, running a red dot is viable. Its MIP short barrel is one of the least useful attachments in this game, considering ultralight is superior in all respects. And it's unfortunate because it reminds me of the Patriot from Metal Gear. What I would like to propose is to change it into a signature attachment. It can keep its lackluster ADS because it's for hipfiring with a fire rate that's on par with the 5.56 Icarus from 2022. The drawbacks are even less range, concerning flinch, and it neutralizes your multipliers and impact. Is this the most practical attachment? Probably not, but it could be fun. Perhaps it could find a home in VR. And finally, I'd like to see M901 as a blueprint, along with its iron sight. I consider the 5.56 Icarus and XMG, but those are belt-fed, so they'd have to program the belt-fed animation and speed it up to match our reload speed, but that's cursed. But hey, that's just my opinion. This has been a Casual's quick guide. Feel free to suggest what weapons you want to see covered next. My name is On, and I'm off.